So I want you to imagine that it's Sunday morning and you are sitting at home waiting to watch your football game, your golf match, whatever it is that you like to do. But all of a sudden, what's that? Commercials. No. As a silky smooth sensual voice starts to talk to you, you become more and more intrigued in the body on the screen. It's a body spray advertisement. The lower half of an extremely ripped man is working out, doing squats. A lot of squats, mind you. Then this beacon of fitness turns around and he's fully erect. The same Morgan Freeman-esque voice seductively says, Old Spice body spray, it helps harden your body. Kind of strange, right? How can this be allowed? Well, actually, this type of sexist advertising is what's been dominating our advertising for the last century and into this century, ever since the 1920s, when ad companies stopped promoting the actual traits and characteristics of their products in order to appeal more to the emotions of humans, seeing that they can make more money. Although women are affected the most by this sexist advertising, we cannot overlook how it is affecting our society as a whole. We've gone from seeing just around 500 ads a day in the 1970s to now being exposed to nearly 5,000 ads a day through internet, TV, bus stops, buses, billboards, anything you could think of. You are just flooded with ads. This 24/7 bombardment of ads the average human sees is subconsciously brainwashing us into believing these false ideologies that are created of men and women. Our culture views the roles of men and women within a society as synonymous with these false roles portrayed in television, magazines, and advertisements. In reality, these stereotypes are nothing but false ideas imprinted in our minds by clever ad agencies looking to wring every last cent of this vulnerable, naive consumer. I'm here today to talk to you and demonstrate how sexism in ads is still around today and how it is negatively affecting our society. Sexist advertising has undoubtedly hurt and affected women the most in comparison to the numbers of ads objectifying men, but the problem that does not seem to be addressed is how this sexist advertising is affecting our society as a whole. When these distasteful ads reinforce the stereotypes of superiority and inferiority between men and women, respectively, the false ideology has somewhat of a ripple effect, where the inferior status of women reinforces the superior status of men. Women, like I said, are most definitely the gender that is most blatantly objectified through advertising, but these ads are defining the status of men and women in our minds based on stereotypes that are outdated and inhumane. If we look closely at a few ads, the effect on society as a whole will be clear, and possibly through this understanding, society can realize the only way to end sexism and achieve gender equality is by changing both men and women's views and definitions of each other's statuses. So first I'm going to talk about an ad for Wonder Bra. In this ad, there's an attractive young female, blonde, dressed only in a bra as she seductively holds the straps of her bra as if they were suspenders. Underneath this picture, there's text that reads, "I can't cook, so what?" This ad simultaneously reinforces an inferior status of women as well as support the idea that beauty should be valued over anything else. And not only beauty, but seemingly perfect beauty. The text implies that a woman should not only know how to cook, but also that a man should care if a woman does not know how to cook. But not just cook, it symbolizes other domestic activities that we've placed in the woman's realm. When ads like this are the norm, they are forcing the woman to have a false sense of what beauty is, and they're also reinforcing in women's minds that they should know how to cook and do other domestic activities. Because a proper woman will stay inside her sphere of domesticity, as history has taught us. On the flip side, ads like this are telling men what they should value, especially when it comes to a woman, and that is beauty and sex. In her essay on sexism in advertising, 2 Ways a Woman Can Get Hurt, Jean Kilburn says, sex in advertising is more about disconnection and distance than connection and closeness. It is also more often about power than passion, about violence than violence. Coinciding with Kilburn, ads like this Wonder Bra ad are telling society what they should value and how we should view each other. And it's also not even using sex in the way that sex is supposed to be used. It's using it in the opposite way. It's not about closeness, it's about distance. It's not about passion, it's about power. Ads are telling us to value sex, money, and beauty, and because of that, men who have been in a self-esteem position of superiority since the beginning of time are carrying these values into what they seek as desirable as a woman. Through these ads, our culture and society is progressing more and more towards a state where human connection and interaction is stripped of all its intimacy, and people are just using each other to satisfy their needs. Our culture today is based around material objects and commodities of all sorts. If you can possess it, you have to have it. In a society that is already sexist, if you throw in the idea that all anyone values anyways is material objects, this creates some sort of a recipe for disaster. Men and women are both becoming more and more concerned and putting a higher emphasis on valuing the superficial. And as I allude to Kilbourne's essay again, she states sex in advertising is pornographic because it dehumanizes and objectifies people, especially women. And because it fetishizes products, it views them with an erotic charge which dooms us to disappointment since products can never fulfill our sexual desires or meet our emotional needs. What she's saying is we're putting these sexual ideas around products, and it's nothing because these products can't satisfy a sexual need or even any sort of need, really. This passage from Kilbourne's essay can help us understand how advertisements objectify people and how we are putting too great an emphasis on valuing material objects. In an ad by Intel, you see this screen split in half, and on one side it is a young girl in a room, pink, full of ponies, everything that you would imagine a little girl's room would be, and she's sitting in the lower corner of the room, vulnerably in an innocent pose. On the other half, it shows men, 3 tall men, scientists, standing in a darker, bluer room doing work, and the text below it reads, "Your world is nothing like our world." Now, you could interpret this any way you want, but I think it's obvious that what it's saying is that it's subconsciously telling us that the world of men, this world of work, is not like the world of a woman full of pink, pretty ponies. It is ads like these that are exactly the type of media-induced false propaganda that is destroying youth culture and our society's culture as a whole. When value systems based around material objects are adopted, it is then that the violence towards women, the devaluing of family institutions, and the overall loss of respect for other human beings stems. The continuing sexist advertising that has been carried over into the 21st century has in many ways narrowed when it comes to the degree of blatant sexism in advertising. But what goes unnoticed in our society today is the detrimental and destructive effects it has on individuals of all ages. The somewhat seamless integration of sexism into advertising leaves us in a position today where even the least sexist ads to our standards are especially sexist when looked at closer, such as the Intel ad. This type of hidden or subtle sexism in advertising is allowed because of the constant reinforcement of stereotypical gender roles over the past century in advertising. Our culture has arrived at the point where sexism is almost invisible to the naked eye because through the thousands of ads we see that sexism has become the norm. And if an ad depicted a woman working at a construction site promoting some sort of boot or brand of jean, viewers would almost watch the ad and be like, why is this a woman promoting this and not a man? Society believes we're bridging the gap of gender inequalities, but in reality we're simply accustomed to and enabling through a shared acceptance by both males and females these false perceptions of men and women's roles within society. As we are now a decade into the new millennium, we cannot allow ads like the ones illustrated above to control the way society thinks, because as it is seen today, the social issues such as high crime rates, divorce rates, teen pregnancies, and poverty all stem from the same tree, and that is the tree of false ideology.